What's up everyone, Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, January 14th, 2019. I hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to do some Bitcoin technical analysis, mainly on a very important formation that we have in play right now, pretty much in play. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to zoom in on the 4-hour and talk about some targets. Before we jump into that, let's take a quick look at this video from yesterday. What we have is this potential symmetrical triangle for Bitcoin. Now, the question is, are we going to see support at this Fibonacci retracement area, right? To kind of get that higher low. That's what we need right now. We need a higher low right here in this area. So we have our first touch, then we'd have our second higher low. So as you can see on the screen, we have 1, 2, 3 lower highs. We have our first low, and now we do have our second higher low. One thing I would like to say is I do want to see this daily candle close. We don't have a close yet. But assuming nothing crazy happens and we don't dip below this lower trend line, we can kind of base this video on a confirmation of this pattern. Now, confirmation of the pattern is different than confirmation of a breakout. So I want to throw that out there. But that's pretty much what we're looking at, a pretty mid-range type of symmetrical triangle. And what's most interesting to me is this 50 EMA. And that's really what I'm watching for in terms of heavy resistance for obvious reasons. Not only is it the 50 EMA, but it's confluent with this upper trend line right here. But I love when patterns form in resistance areas, namely upper trend lines, are very confluent with important EMAs and moving averages that we track. Obviously, the 50 EMA on the daily, very important. Now, the reason why it's important to me is because I've been using the 50 EMA this entire time in this bear market to determine when is the best time to anticipate the next dip for Bitcoin. And we've done that in multiple ways, but 50 EMA has been a huge help and tool for us. Now, in that last bear market, if you remember, we hit that first bottom. We got a touch to the 50 EMA, a second touch, both rejected, and then finally we had a breakout above the 50 EMA. That was like the bulls stepping in for kind of this first time in this bottom range for Bitcoin. And then over the course of the next 5 months or so, you see this grappling of the 50 EMA, like this fight, the bears versus the bulls. And it's very evident in that illustration that you see on the screen. So I'm obviously looking for something similar in this bottom range, and we have to be patient for this to play out. But it's one reason why I said it's a very interesting pattern, being the upper trend line is confluent with the 50 EMA, because thus far, we've had 1 rejection at the 50 EMA, 2 rejections at the 50 EMA, similar to that last bear market. So I'm very curious to see what happens if Bitcoin makes a run at this 50 EMA, also the top of this trend line. So if we zoom in on the 4-hour, you can kind of get an idea of what Bitcoin's looking like. If you want to look for short-term resistance below the upper trend line up here, you have some things to definitely keep an eye on. Namely, you have this 50 EMA on the 4-hour chart right here, which we already see short-term resistance, which is normal. We might get another leg up in the next 4 to 8 hours or so, but we want to keep an eye on that, right? Secondly, 200 EMA, obviously another area to watch for. And then maybe most importantly is this Fibonacci retracement from this swing high to this previous swing low. And you see we have our 786 channel, 786 to 618 channel right here in terms of key resistance just below the trend line. So Bitcoin on the short term leading up to this upper trend line and the 50 EMA on the daily has a ton of resistance ahead of it. So Bitcoin needs volume in order to even make a run at that upper trend line. Now, in terms of how far away we are from that trend line, you can see we are right around 9, let's call it 10% to testing that area. That could happen like that. We all know that. So we have to keep an eye on that. Now, one thing I do want to just throw out there, which is interesting, is this whole formation that we have in play right now. And I'm throwing this out there because it's important to look at the upside and the downside. This whole formation, symmetrical triangle, even if we get a run up to this resistance area at the top of the trend line, if we fail there and come back down even closer to the 75% to the apex of this triangle, a break below this, a target price for a break below this is right around our target of $2,200 to $2,500 for Bitcoin. It's that new possible low and a huge accumulation area for me. I believe that would be the bottom if we did go down there. So I want to throw that out there. Just find your risk tolerance in this markets. Look for confirmations in patterns like this, right? And then make your decision on how you want to play this, how you want to accumulate if you're accumulating. So those are my thoughts. Some things to look out for in terms of Bitcoin on the short term. Obviously, we have a 4-hour chart here, but in the next 4-8 hours, I'm curious to see what happens going into tonight if Bitcoin can continue this little mini run up that it has. And we're talking since its previous low, Bitcoin up around 6 to 7%. Nothing crazy, right? It can come right back down. So let's see what happens tonight. Wanted to throw this out there for you. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good night. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you as part of the channel. I will see you all in the next video. Have an awesome night, and God bless.